All right, guys. So not the video we like to make, but one of our Tegus isn't looking so good. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what's going on and how we could help her. But basically, we got Hera here. She's one of our super blue Tegus. I went to feed them this morning, just a couple minutes ago, and I noticed that she was moving kind of sluggish. Her back feet aren't moving very well. So usually what happens is that's early sign of like a calcium issue. So what we're doing right now is we're just soaking her. She did just lay about like 30 eggs not too long ago, so that's probably the reason why she is like this. So what we're doing is we're soaking her with some water and some Pedialyte just to get her hydrated, and then we're gonna give her some liquid calcium. The liquid calcium is easier for them to absorb, and it's gonna act a lot faster than the powdered calcium, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna see if maybe she's gonna need a vet visit, but you know, she's not too bad right now. She's, as you can see, she's kind of sluggish. Her eyes don't look the worst. She looks like she might be trying to push something out right now. I don't know if she's pooping or it's just like a slug or an egg, but you know, we're like I said, the main thing is just getting her hydrated, getting some liquid calcium in her, because when the back feet start to go out, if you ever see a lizard that's dragging its back feet, it's usually a calcium issue. It's an early sign of metabolic bone disease. And obviously these guys, laying eggs is a big toll. It takes a big toll on their body, so we want to make sure that this female is fine and that she's gonna live, you know, happy the rest of her life. So we got to make sure that, you know, she gets the calcium she needs to produce those eggs and stay alive and healthy.
And this applies to all reptiles, you know, whenever they're laying eggs or giving like birth, it's gonna drain the calcium out of their body.
Yeah,
so you do always got to keep an eye on it. Something, you know, we actually do notice this particularly with gargoyle geckos. The female, sometimes after laying a couple clutch of eggs, you know, they're drained from calcium.
yeah.
You see them
Gargoyle
start getting
geckos,
sluggish.
chahuas as well. They'll get it. You know, the eggs take a big toll on their body. So yeah.
So, and then we just kind of hit them with some little bit of liquid calcium. You do got to be very careful when giving that, because if you give too much, you can kill the animal.
Yeah, so this is the liquid calcium. You got to make sure you hit the right dosage for the size of the animal. Obviously a Tegu like this is going to be a lot different than like a gargoyle gecko, but it's important also to make sure that all your animals are well hydrated. What happens sometimes is if your animal's not well hydrated, they could, you know, like the females when they're laying eggs, their insides are not, if they're not hydrated, it's going to be a lot harder for them to pass the eggs. So that's why it's just good to have an overall idea of how you're taking care of your animals before you start breeding. I wouldn't recommend breeding the first animal you ever get. You should keep them for a while before you even think about breeding, because things like this do happen. So you got to make sure that you're on top of it. And as soon as you see a little, you know, a little difference in your animal's behavior, you got to get on top of it to make sure they'll be okay. All right, so we just spoke to Ryan from Underground Reptiles. He has, you know, a wealth of experience with the Tegus. He said sometimes what happens is that after a female lays, they could still have some like calcified eggs in there, and they could be pushing up against her spine, and that will make her back feet basically be like that. And if that's the case, then usually they could pass it and nothing will happen. But sometimes it could be like they ruptured their uterus wall, is what he said?
Yeah, your uterine walls.
Yeah, so unfortunately when that happens, they don't really make it. So don't know what we could do right now. We did give her a little bit of liquid calcium, but she's still soaking. We're just gonna let her relax, and we'll keep you guys updated on what happens. Just so you guys could see what it looks like when she's trying to walk. She's barely moving. You know, Tegus don't usually move like this. Her back feet, she's barely using them. So we'll see what it is. Hopefully she pulls through. We did see her try to push out something, like if she was trying to poop or maybe some eggs, so hopefully she could get those through and it won't be a problem. But until then. All right guys, so I just walked into Hera's cage, and unfortunately she passed. So we don't know exactly what happens. I'm filming this the day after We found her. But yeah, she passed away, so it's part of keeping animals sometimes.